Let me make sure. Let me make sure the people out there, them folks out there see me. It says stop stream. I'm still not seeing. Okay, here we go. I see it powering up. I see it powering up. I see up, up. It says let that screen pop up. Give me a minute. Yeah, yeah. Give me a minute. Good afternoon. Well, I'm sorry. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, because somewhere around the world, that is truly what time it is. I am your host, Tony X. And again, this show has nothing to do with the political campaign and race, and or race, of Anton Tucker. But if you find that being cursed out and the truth offensive, get the fuck off my channel. But before I get into any of that, let me get into this. Please be mindful this show is for 18 years of age and older. All copyright laws will be respected, but this show is intended to use the Fair Use Act of it. Thank you very much. Please do remember that the New Right Party channel and the New Red Party show is sponsored by patriots like you. And as long as you're sending these donations, it allows me to create the content that will continue to make these motherfuckers sick. As you were.
Is the family and my family entertainment and it's team no sleep. Flossy high and yeah we made it. The haters keep on hating on the songs that we be making, and I heard they want my soul. Illuminati wanna take it. This is the family and my family entertainment and it's team no sleep. Flossy high and yeah we made it. The haters keep on hating on the songs that we be making, and I heard they want my soul. Illuminati wanna take it.
CEO, bullshit, paying for the pussy, I endorse it, riding through the city, that's my all. We are live and in the building right now. We are live. I want to shout out to everybody that chose to come into the live today. Today, I'm going to choose some motherfuckers up. I have absolutely no fucking respect for these motherfuckers. But the thing about this is, God is great. And let me explain to you why God is great. Because with all of the slick talking, you have to understand something. With all of the slick talking these weasel ass politicians do, with as bright and as elaborately articulate as Barack Obama scumbag ass is, he is so fucking stupid. Well, he's not stupid. God is so great that no matter what they would do, no weapon formed against us shall prosper. The reason why this country is successful isn't because we've been running around just taking shit from people. We've had people that were supposed to represent us use our name, your name and my name. The United States of America, that's our shit. That belongs to us. We've allowed people that we've elected to go out and fuck up shit in our name. But the world has been so shook, no one wants to come here because they know we all strapped. But the problem is these politicians don't realize the same shit. God didn't allow us to survive all of the years of bad shit that we went through as a country for us to get this far, for us to fall fucking to the wayside because of these demon, devil worshiping pieces of shit. Absolutely not. That's why Barack Obama, who would have a staff of well over 100 people, Andrew McCabe, James Comey, all these, they have dozens of people working for him, dozens of people thinking for him, coming up with strategies, and all of these dumb motherfuckers sat in the room and still couldn't come up successfully with a fucking plan to fucking accuse this president of something successfully. Instead, they made up an idea that some fucking dirty prostitutes in Russia pissed on them. Then they used that shit in order to lie to procure a fucking indictment, to procure an affidavit in order to start to even look into Papadopoulos, who they already knew was a CIA asset. These motherfuckers knew since 2016 that there was no fucking Russian collusion, but they was trying to save Hillary ass because Donald Trump told you she stole 20% of our fucking uranium to Russia. Let me get into this. I love Sean Hannity, even though I haven't been invited on the show. Still love him. You know, and the thing is, when decent men are trying to talk to you and explain things to you, it kind of it makes it
think again.
When you're pissed, it makes it hard to listen to because you feel like I've heard this shit already. You feel like, you know, this isn't something. And then you have people who don't really understand what's going on. So for all of this, I would like to be able to use some content here found on Sean Hannity's show. And I'm going to just, break some things down to you, the viewers watching.
Begin with a Fox News alert, and it will take, well, the next 10 hours to give you all the news we have. We're trying to break it down as best we can. We have two breaking news stories we are tracking tonight. First, just moments ago, we received definitive evidence that the corrupt, the compromised, congenital liar, that guy that I've been telling you about, Adam Schiff, he has willfully been deceiving you, we, the American people, for years. Transcripts he's been hiding from the House Intel Committee's witch hunt into Russian, quote, interference have finally been released, thanks to the Director of National Intelligence, and Attorney General Barr. Adam Schiff is being exposed as being a bigger liar than we even thought. Also, documents revealing bombshell new information on what Barack Obama knew about deep state spying. He knew a lot more than we ever knew. We have those details coming up. Also breaking tonight, the Department of Justice and Attorney General Barr rightly have dropped all charges against Lieutenant General Michael Flynn. And that means soon his nearly 4-year nightmare and ordeal will be over, and only if the presiding federal judge, Emmett Sullivan.
If this judge does not sign off on it, it only means he's complacent as well. It only means he's complacent as well. If the DOJ, who has to bring charges, are saying we don't want to bring charges, did it just tell me my chat is closed? Did it just try to tell me my chat is closed? My chat can't be closed. Do me a favor. Type in my chat, y'all, and tell me if it's letting you type in the chat. Tell me if it's letting you. Tell me if YouTube is letting you type in the chat. Because I shouldn't have to have done anything. This is a show where you need to be 18 years of age in order to watch it in the first place. This is clearly not a children's show. I can't see anything in the chat. Nothing. I don't see the chat texting at all. I don't see the chat going off at all. I don't see the chat at all. Like, I'm trying to see the chat. I don't see the chat going off at all. No, I see y'all here. I'm talking about on YouTube. If you're watching on YouTube, I can't see it. Is people talking in it? Producer, I know you watching. Could you please let me know or inform me? I'm over here trying to figure out what's going on. Okay, thank you. All right, so here it is. You got this dude. If he don't sign off on it, he's complacent. He's complacent. He's involved. You don't need to be a fucking rocket scientist. I don't give a fuck if you are the fry cook and fucking Wendy's. Anyone hearing this, and after we're done, if you can't tell me Barack Obama should be in jail and all of these people should be in jail, something's seriously fucking wrong with you.
Sullivan agrees with the DOJ's motion. Flynn was, we've told you for years, and is an innocent man. He's an honorable man, a 33-year veteran who served this country with distinction. But because of his support for President Trump, he, like the president, many other people around the president, they were subjected to years of total...
See, before the brother get into that, the shit that's going on with Flynn is this. When Obama first had him, during his last 4 years, they tried to get shit on Flynn, and Flynn wasn't for sale. Every one of these politicians, every last one of them, are compromised. That's why all of them get to get anywhere in the first place. They realize that they can control them with something that they've done, so they hold it above their heads and they use them and they create puppets. Donald Trump is no one's puppet. It's clear that Barry, who goes by Barack now, has a whole lot to hide. That's why that birth certificate was doctored. So let a person of color tell you that birth certificate is doctored. Matter of fact, the next show we do that I prepare, we'll go over that birth certificate if we can still get the information. Since I'm on a road now and I'm going to talk about Barry bitch ass.
Total hell by a corrupt group of dirty cops, to quote Joe DeGeneva. First time he said it on the show, I flinched. They're dirty cops. All my family was in law enforcement. That's not how we believe cops act or FBI acts. And you know what? It was only 1%, not the rank and file. What happened to General Flynn is just the tip of the iceberg. We're going to lay out a comprehensive timeline of this corruption. We will detail the very real crimes that we believe were committed by these few high-ranking bad actors. We'll call out.
And the thing is, we've been saying this shit to you since the very beginning.
The media mob, the acting cheerleaders for government malfeasance. They were going after phony stories like Russia collusion and Ukraine quid pro quos.
The media is complacent as well. The CIA has operatives that they've placed well within the media, and all of these people have been saying a bunch of bullshit. Now, again, once I'm elected, it will be my duty as well to make sure that whenever a news station or publisher publishes anything, and it's proven false, that they would have to spend the same amount of time of coverage to then change what they did. So and I don't care if it was just like, let's just say one person reports that there was Trump collusion, then everyone reports what CNN said, because CNN is the someone, right? So everyone, MSNBC, everyone reports it, right? I'm going to make all of them report on it being a lie until it receives the same amount of coverage. That means that CNN would have to report that they lied to everybody, but they would have to report it enough combined with everybody. You see what I'm saying now? So whatever coverage that MSNBC had, whatever coverage that CBS had, whatever coverage that ABC had, whatever coverage that you got to combine them all together. I want them all together. Now, each one specifically would have to achieve that same number and that same goal. You can't share it. The only thing you can share is a lie that you started. See? But now, owning up to it is going to have to be a responsibility all on your own. And every last one of you are going to be responsible for that number.
Hillary's dirty Russian dossier, Russian disinformation from the get-go. They ignored, you're not getting the million unless you fire the prosecutor, paying my inexperienced son millions just to go after Donald Trump. It has been a two-tiered justice system, two-tiered coverage in your media mob. The Attorney General is now speaking out. We have part of that interview he gave earlier tonight. Flynn's attorney, Sidney Powell, will join us. The great one, Mark Levin, will weigh in. And later, wow, thank God she's free. We will have an exclusive interview with Shelley Luther. She was the salon owner that was told, you apologize to the government or you're going to jail. What?
They call the Mark Levin the great one. They call me the one. The one. That's what they call me. Mark Levin is the great one. They call me the one.
Our left-wing judge put her behind bars, slapped her with a $7,000 fine because she wanted her employees to be able to feed their kids, and she refused to apologize for trying to feed her children and those that work for her. She's a hero for standing up to that judge. First, we've got to address what is the foundation of this great republic. What is it? Our Constitution, liberty. Before he was elected. Shortly after the DOJ's announcement, Lieutenant General Flynn, he tweeted out this video of his grandson. It reminds us that there
I'm gonna let this rock, but I want to get to the mustard and catch up.
With good people in power,
I want to get to the mustard and catch up. But this right here is just a worth watch.
The United States of America and to the Republic for which it stands, the nation under God and the valuable of liberty and justice.
All right. Maybe you could teach Joe Biden how to say things.
Yeah, because he forgot.
He got it right. General Flynn's grandson understands the core American principle better than some of these corrupt bad actors who tried to persecute his grandfather. Let's take a look at how we got here. Let's start in early January 2017, before President Trump was even sworn into office.
Okay, listen. Everything that you're about to see is hard work and is done by a diligent team on behalf of Fox 5. Okay? this footage. I've sped it up. That way I don't have copyright issues because I've been dealing with a lot of hate. You understand, from all sides. A lot of people don't want me to just remix their shit, but I mean, at the end of the day, you fitting to get this remix. All right. So following the compilation of above information, the CH team determined that Crossfire Razor was no longer a viable candidate as part of the larger Crossfire Hurricane umbrella case.
The FBI determined Flynn had done nothing wrong, nothing. In fact, Comey's Crossfire Hurricane investigation found no evidence of collusion from anyone associated with Donald Trump.
Now, that's for sure what was written about General Flynn in 2017, but we're going to get to the mustard and the ketchup.
Thanks to a recent document discovery, we learned that by January of 2017, there was no derogatory material on Flynn in the FBI's files. Zero in the Defense Intel Agency files. Zero derogatory material as it relates to material in the CIA files. And we know that by January 4, 2017, the case against Flynn was supposed to be closed. That is, until the FBI leadership on the infamous 7th floor got involved. That same day, Peter Strzok pleaded, don't close out the case. And in comes Jim Comey. A few weeks later, 4th day into the Trump administration, Strzok is asking, quote, what is our goal? Truth, admission, or to get General Flynn to lie so that then we can prosecute him and get him fired or get him fired. Those words should never come out of anybody in the FBI, ever. The goal should be justice and truth always. That's not a question that he should have ever asked. The fact that he asked it and got answers is scary. That quote, quite literally, is the definition of a perjury trap. But in Jim Comey's FBI, well, it was all means to an end. January 24th, Mr. Higher Loyalty, super patriot himself, Jim Comey, he directed his agents to ambush General Flynn at the White House. And
first, he's already disclosed that under other conditions, he would have normally went through the proper chain of command, because clearly what he did was against chain of command, if not against the law. If not against the law. Because you have to think about this. Without giving the White House formal knowledge of your intentions, it becomes you spying automatically. It becomes you spying automatically.
He bragged about to take advantage of the chaos in the White House, something he wouldn't do in the Obama-Bush administrations or get away with, and push aside all due process, which would be going through the White House General Counsel. In other words, Comey's disreputable right-hand man, Deputy Director McCabe, well, he just told Flynn, oh, you don't need a lawyer. That was a lie, too. It was all a setup. And Comey sent them in. And like the idiotic, pompous jackass that Jim Comey bragged about, well, he bragged about the whole dirty trick on camera. Now think about this. Does this sound like a guy that has a higher loyalty to truth, honor, law enforcement, the Constitution of the United States? Because to me, he's the dirty cop that Joe DeGeneva warned us about.
You look at this White House now, and it's hard to imagine 2 FBI agents sitting up in the sit room. How did that happen?
I sent them.
They laughed. They thought it was a joke. It's not. Because if that happened to any one of them that was laughing, they would want to die before going to prison, especially if they're innocent.
Something I probably wouldn't have done or maybe gotten away with in a more organized investigation, a more organized administration, in the George W. Bush administration, for example, or the Obama administration. And in both of those administrations, there was process. And so if the FBI wanted to send agents into the White House itself to interview a senior official, you would work through the White House counsel, and there'd be discussions and approvals, and it would be there. And I thought, it's early enough, let's just send a couple guys over.
Yeah, you think that's funny, Jim? Really? This is a 33-year veteran of this country, Jim Comey. Really? You don't need a lawyer? You're sending him in, you're setting him up, you're doing...
General Flynn should be able to sue Comey personally as well.
Things you wouldn't do to anybody else? Wow. Jim Comey was using the Logan Act, 1799 law that nobody's ever been prosecuted under, ever, to squeeze Lieutenant General Flynn. Nobody ever found guilty of violating that obscure law since 1799. And get this, the agents that conducted the ambush, they didn't think that Flynn was lying. We don't have the original 302 notes that Strzok and Page are talking about seemingly altering later on. Because in search of a crime, you got people like Strzok and Page, doing the bidding of Comey and McCabe, they made significant revisions to the initial 302. In other words, they changed the interview notes. They set them up again. And by the way, they invented the perjury trap. That's by saying you don't need a lawyer. Well, what's our goal here? Do we want him to lie? We want to set him up for perjury so he gets prosecuted? And all the while, Comey, McCabe, Rod Rosenstein, and others, they themselves premeditated fraud on the FISA court. Heard that a lot from me over the last 3 years, despite knowing full well that Hillary's bought and paid for dossier, even the New York Toilet Paper Times figured out was likely Russian disinformation from the beginning. Yeah, she paid for Russian interference, and they used it as the basis, the bulk of information on the FISA warrant applications. Oh, by the way, we learned an awful lot in these papers today about that. We'll get to that. And by the way, that was to take away Carter Page's civil liberties and constitutional rights. And in June of 2017, well into the Trump administration, McCabe, Rosenstein, they signed off on the fourth FISA renewal.
And they all knew.
The only problem is they knew months earlier that it was useless. They had debunked it. They knew it wasn't true. They knew the subsource, after 3 interviews, had said, nah, Steele, that's not accurate. August 2nd, 2017, you have acting AG Rod Rosenstein providing Robert Mueller with a letter detailing the scope of the investigation. Now, that scope consisted of a few dozen baseless charges and a few allegations totally unrelated to collusion. The accusations against General Flynn had previously been debunked by the FBI in early January. Premeditated fraud on a FISA court. They were warned before the October 2016 FISA application. We have in these papers Andrew McCabe admitting, I don't know.
Unemployment hit a record high.
It's true. And then he also said, without it, they never would have gotten the FISA application approved. That was what, in part, guys like Adam Schiff have been hiding from we, the people, all this time that we found out today. The Mueller probe was always a political witch hunt. It was a hoax. It was a conspiracy against Donald Trump. This was an attempted coup to undo a duly elected president and take him down and lie about it the whole way. That's why they turned the screws on Flynn. I'm looking at the tweets by idiots like Schiff and Nadler today.
I believe China's blaming the U.S. for this whole virus thing.
What?
Uh-oh, propaganda.
Yeah, I saw it on TV.
Well, General Michael Flynn greeted the news of the DOJ dismissing the charges against him by tweeting the words, "Justice for all," with a video of his grandson reciting the Pledge of Allegiance.
Let's do it again.
The federal judge overseeing the case still has to sign off on this. Joining me right now
see you. She's watching.
General Flynn's lead attorney, Sidney Powell. Sidney, it is great to see you. Congratulations to you. You've worked hard on this. Let me ask you to start off, how is General Flynn doing? What is his reaction this morning?
His reaction at first was one of disbelief and relief at the same time. It's going to take a while to process it. He's obviously very grateful to the Attorney General and Mr. Jensen for having the integrity to dig for the truth and to get it out for the American people to see. And he is looking forward to spending time with his family. I'm sure he'll have a statement to make sometime in the near future.
Sidney, this is obviously a big step toward justice, and our viewers heard this here first. We knew this was coming, but Judge Sullivan still has to sign off on this, Sidney. He's got to sign off on the motion. When are you expecting that to happen?
I would expect it to happen tomorrow or sometime early this week. It's a matter of the prosecutor's actual discretion. Judge Sullivan, according to a couple of Supreme Court decisions, I'm sure he will follow the law there and sign off on it.
Now, I know that there were a few things that we learned in these transcripts that were released as well. And in terms of the way they violated General Flynn's rights, they did not mention the 1001. Tell me about Section 1001 and why that's important, Sidney.
Well, it's the statute that makes it a federal felony to lie to agents. These agents specifically schemed and planned with each other how to not tip him off that he was even the person being investigated. In fact, according to Comey's testimony that's attached to the exhibits they filed in the motion to dismiss, they just simply said, we'd like to send a couple of agents by to talk to you. And of course, General Flynn said, sure. And he saw them as allies. They encouraged him to stay that way. They deliberately did not tell him about 1001 because they didn't want to trigger the slightest suspicion in his mind that he was being investigated or should be concerned about anything. So they kept him relaxed and unguarded deliberately as part of their effort to set him up and frame him. We do have the agent's raw notes, but we do not have the original 302. And we now know from additional text messages produced that there were substantial alterations to the 302s. We have some of those changes between February 10th and 11th, and those are attached as exhibits to one of our briefs that are available on my website.
So, Sydney, I want you to walk through this timeline for us because they also violated White House protocol by ambushing him. And we know that. We've played that soundbite of Jim Comey saying, oh, it was chaotic. I just sent a few agents over there and just figured it would be better to do it that way. So let's go through the General Flynn Crossfire Razor timeline. And that begins on August 15th when Peter Strzok, then FBI agent, sent to his girlfriend a text saying, to the extent saying something like, well, I wish I could believe.
So in 2016, they knew there was no Russian collusion.
What you said in Andy's office, but we need an insurance policy. That was discussed in McCabe's office. The following day, on August 16th, they opened a Crossfire Razor probe into General Flynn. And then on August 17th, FBI agents were sent to a presidential briefing for nominee Trump. They did so why? You think they just were trying to assess General Flynn to try to get something on him then as well in that briefing?
Oh, that's what one of the agents testified to the Inspector General. It's in his report that came out in December. He was specifically sent into that briefing to assess and gauge General Flynn's mannerisms, to collect what information he could, because General Flynn was there to notice his reaction to any mention of Russia. And that was done all expressly in case they needed to interview him later, i.e. if Trump was elected and General Flynn was put in the White House.
Unbelievable. So fast forward to January 2017, Sydney, because this morning, President Obama is out trashing this exoneration. He's basically saying that the rule of law is being lost and that there's no precedent for all of this. So we go to January 2017 and February 2017. The morning of January 4th, the FBI drafts a document to close the Flynn probe. Crossfire Razor. They wanted to close it. They had nothing, so they want to close it. So the next day, later that afternoon, Peter Strzok texts, don't close the Razor yet. And the 7th floor is involved.
7th floor is Comey and the rest of the dummies.
And then there's a meeting in President Obama's Oval Office. Talk to us about that, Sydney, because Sal Yates was there, Jim Comey was there, John Brennan was there, James Clapper was there, briefing President Obama in the Oval Office on the Russia probe. Joe Biden and Susan Rice were there as well. This was January 5th, 2017. Walk us through it.
Exactly. Well, the day before, Comey had found, and McCabe had found the transcripts of Flynn's call with Kislyak, and he briefed Clapper on it immediately. Clapper then immediately went and briefed President Obama on it. Then they have the Oval Office meeting on the 5th. Comey admits in his testimony that the FBI are the people that unmasked General Flynn, our people, whatever that means. And at the meeting on the 5th, Sally Yates was stunned because Obama mentions to her out of the blue about the call and the transcript of the call. She knew nothing about it because Comey had briefed DOJ. Yes. Yeah. So then they dispatched Comey the very next morning to brief President Trump only on the salacious aspects of the dossier on January 6th to set the news hook for BuzzFeed and CNN to run with the dossier they knew was a lie. Then Peter Strzok is watching CNN report on that and texts about he and pre-staff sitting there watching it and using it as a pretext to go interview some people. So the whole thing was orchestrated and set up within the FBI, Clapper, Brennan, and in the Oval Office meeting that day with President Obama.
So you think this goes all the way up to the top to President Obama?
Absolutely.
Who's going to be charged?
I have no idea. That's up to John Durham and Attorney General
Sydney,
Barr.
We got to jump, but it's great to talk with you. Congratulations, Sidney Powell.
All right, so
joining me now to discuss my open and the deep state cover-up.
Okay, so Obama said this when asked about them spying on Trump.
President Obama. This follows President Trump's tweets claiming that former President Barack Obama ordered the wiretapping of telephones at Trump Tower during the election. President Trump has not presented any evidence, and Obama's spokesman says, quote, neither President Obama nor any White House official ever ordered surveillance on any U.S. citizen. Any suggestion otherwise is simply false.
So this shows he lied. That is a lie. It's a lie. They've been new from the very beginning. This was an attempt to remove a duly elected president from power. Why would they want to do that? Why is there all of a sudden a vaccine released on the public that was taken out of Harvard? 2 Chinese nationals were arrested. One was a general in the fucking army of China. That's not enough to go to war. I don't know what is, honestly. Okay. We then find out that 3.7 million of our dollars was allocated to Wuhan, China, along with millions of dollars from Bill Gates. That we know for a fact. We know Bill Gates' virus documentary, whatever the hell you want to call it, on Netflix was also promoted by Barack Obama because he's an owner of Netflix. Why do you think now Obama's phone call was leaked? Who leaks his phone call? He's only talking to one other person. He could only be talking to one other person. It was intentional. See, Barack Obama is their scapegoat. Black folks, they use black folks to kill you, enslave you, and knock you off. For all of you out there saying you shouldn't be saying that about a black man, fuck him. Fuck him. Fuck everybody that love him too. Period. Anybody that could love this piece of shit is really fucked up mentally. There is no reason for you to hold on to the fact that he was the so-called first black president when he's the motherfucker who opened up the door wide for you to be assassinated and removed off this fucking planet. There's a reason why no one is talking about what's going on in China. Why this young man's death in February is now currently being used in order for you to stay mind fucked. But this is what they're doing in China. Homeless. Thousands.
Everybody is walking on the road. In this midnight, they are still chasing us.
McDonald's won't let them go in their restaurants. First, the Chinese told you that the virus started from eating bats. Because, you know, Chinese eat weird shit. They eat dogs and cats and shit. So, and rats at that too. Fucking rats. But these folks said that black people are the cause of COVID-19. Kicked them out of their homes, removed them out of their homes. Some boarded up in their homes, locked in their homes, and forced to starve to death. Reports say. Your so-called president don't give a fuck about black folks. He only cares about his puppet masters, their agenda, which is to confuse the population, to keep us arguing amongst each other. So, scumbags like this.
Make a deal. We always make a deal. But it's going to be a different kind of deal because it's going to be a deal that respects the values that in the New World Order regarding local policing. And, well,
because all of these people are working with the New World Order. All of them. All of them. They're working with the New World Order. They're putting shit in your food. They're doing a ton of shit to you to keep you mentally fucked up and unprepared. These people have you one track minded. One track minded. Barack Obama is not the savior of humanity. He's the start of the end. Anyone else would be in jail. Imagine if that was Trump that spied on the next incoming president, that hired people within his Justice Department to illegally investigate that person, set that person up and try to lock them up and put them in prison. You do understand this is the end result, right? If they would have successfully framed the president as a Russian asset, they could have killed him. They sure enough would have. They would have destroyed his legacy. All of his financial wealth would have been gone. His children would have had nothing. And no one would have been able to fight against this media that can either make you innocent or guilty. Obama is scared. He's very, very afraid. Because coming up are indictments. And see, the thing is, once people start to get arrested and locked up, they'll start to tell. Peter Strzok and Lisa Page will tell on Clapper and Comey. Clapper will try to remain old school, but he'll tell. They want Comey bad. Comey's going in. You think they're going to fall on their sword for Obama? You think so? If the Justice Department doesn't arrest all of these individuals, you think the country will remain and on lockdown and peacefully at that? You honestly believe that that's going to happen? There are too many people that have witnessed what's going on. The Russian shit is a lie. 3 years of Russian bullshit. Lies. All of it. Every one of you Democrats that was sitting there saying he works for Russia, you're still saying he works for Russia, you're a dummy. You're a jackass. Barack Obama don't give a fuck about no Americans, let alone any fucking one black. Barack Obama cares about what these people tell him to do. That's it. That's all. That's what he follows orders. They got a lot on Barack Obama. Then Michelle comes out. Oh, she tries to come out, and she says that she felt betrayed. By who, Michael? I asked that. She has a quote where she says, having children killed some of her dreams, to sum it up. She was the first lady of the United States of America. What the fuck could you dream past being that? The most recognized person on the planet, other than Barack Obama, when you were in the White House. That's the equivalent of every girl dreaming of being a princess and a queen. You woke up every day and someone gave you everything you wanted. And they did it for 8 years. And they're still doing it. Currently right now. You wake up and someone gets you what you want. People treat you like royalty. What I don't know what else a girl could dream for. That's what she said. People that have everything, they want you to believe that what you have is enough. And that everything they take from you is unnecessary. And they're doing this so they can throw all of our asses in ovens. Not so they can better the planet. If companies like Monte Santos can organically make food out of thin air, we should have no one hungry at all, period. We should have no mental illnesses. At this particular point in time, we shouldn't. How many hundreds of years have we allowed these people to control medicine and we have yet to see any real cures? Think about it. The air is worse now than it was 10 years ago, than it was 20 years ago. The water is more polluted now than it was 10 years ago, than it was 20 years ago. I'm not responsible for that shit. I don't regulate factories and tell them where they can and can't dump. The world is not a better place because of these people. The reason why they want control over everything is because they're tyrants. If these people cured all diseases, if these people actually used Tesla's science and allowed us to use the energy that's in the air, if they allowed us to convert our cars so they can run on hydrogen, so we can just put water in it, then people will be saying kumbaya. Put it all together. But they haven't solved hunger, homelessness. And then they want to tell you they want to have health care for all the people here, and they haven't even cured anything for anyone here already. What releases the burden financially of a healthcare system is finding cures for diseases. And cheap ways to produce them. Not giving you something to mask symptoms so you can go about your day and still be sick. This is a charade. Barack Obama never intended to give anyone hope. He intended to blind you. He was put in place to get you emotionally attached. They gave you the storybook of lifestyle. Everything that they could put in front of you and portray in front of you, they did it. But you watched as he was president, and you watched him do absolutely nothing that truly united the nation. Aside from some hope. The first time, everyone was so excited. Then the second time, his pitch was, I gotta go back and finish what I started, so you gotta let me. And that's how most presidents get a second term. Well-spoken, very intelligent, but all in all, God is great. Because devils like him can't hide. Doesn't matter what color your skin is. Being a devil is being a devil. He meant to destroy Donald Trump's life on purpose. I don't want to hear a bunch of black folks saying, oh, they trying to lock him up because he was a black man and stand a third. Cut it out. They need to lock his ass up because if he could, he would lock your ass up. If he could, your ass would be burning in a fucking oven somewhere. And this population would be dwindled down to 500 million people. And how do I know? Because they got it written on fucking stone. It's written on stone. He is directly related to the Blue Bloods. Directly. There ain't shit black about Barack Obama. Every picture you see him with black folks is a stage picture. That is not his childhood. It's not. He wasn't raised by his grandparents like they make you believe. He moved there well within him leaving junior high school where he was when he was in Indonesia, I believe it was. This dude has been propped up and placed to be put in office. He's not your friend. So when you see him lock the fuck up, preferably for treason, but when you see it, don't go outside and start bitching and moaning. This is what you've been asking for. All of you know something is wrong with the system overall. Donald Trump is an anomaly. He doesn't belong in the circle. He wasn't there prior to any of this shit. So move him out of the equation. Was it fucked up before he got there? Yeah? Okay, was it fucked up before Barack got there? Yeah? Okay, was it fucked up before Bush got there? Yeah? How? Because, see, once these people got in power, they didn't do anything to change it. Nothing. Nothing. Barack Obama's wife doing free lunch meals is a joke because the only reason why it was removed is because of Democrats overspending and then people having to revise budgets. Because when I was growing up, kids had free lunch for breakfast and lunch. And during the summertime, they gave free lunch to families. They had no problems doing it. They had no problems doing it. Her free lunch initiative is a joke. They've been giving kids free lunch. They've been giving kids free lunch. No one can point to one thing specifically that made an impact for all Americans that Barack Obama did. And the only thing people will always try to say is he gave me hope. What the fuck does that mean, and does it pay any bills? Can you eat it? Can you drink it? Because he also had the power to create change. And he didn't. When Colin Kaepernick took a knee, that was during his time he was president. Hillary Clinton was running against Donald Trump. Donald Trump wasn't even the nominee for the Republicans yet. He was still whooping on them. He wasn't even the nominee yet. That happened during Barack Obama's administration. The news media, everybody clambered to him. He couldn't do anything wrong. Why is it that no one sees this man for what he is? It's because they're all working together. That's why. Barack Obama was in that room, and so was Joe Biden. Joe Biden is so concerned with removing Trump. They would have a senile Joe Biden running, and they would give him the Democratic nomination, knowing that he has clear health problems. All to save his ass and his criminal enterprise, because he's hopped on planes to China, to Ukraine, dropped his son off there, and his son comes back with millions of fucking dollars. Millions. I don't think that this will go all the way up past Obama. But I do think that this nation is about to have a very rude awakening. Things are going to change. Period. Nothing can be the same after this. For all of the folks out there who are God-fearing, law-abiding citizens, you would have never thought in a million years that the FBI would be setting people up, but they've been doing this shit for years. To black people all across America, to Spanish people all across America, and to white folks all across America. You're only getting a clue now because it's being done to the point where it has to be exposed. These people, with all of their think tanks and their assistants and everything you can think of, they still failed. If this isn't reason for you to believe in a God, I don't know what is. Because they had control over all the information, people. Over all the documents that were submitted. They had the right to throw away those notes, not even keep them. Somehow, through the grace of God, here it is. Somehow, through the grace of God, here it is. Mind you, these people have control over everything. They could have met and had lunch and had an off-the-record conversation. God is great, and not sometimes, all the time. I want to say thank you for tuning in. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay American, and remember, they need to lock Obama's ass up before we wild out. You know I'm big on fashion. Check out srgfashion.com for the best suits you can get. Look great being conservative. And also, check out dogspurpose.com